I grew up down in Newport Beach, even though I, left after high school, left California and worked all over the place before coming back to California about a year and a half ago. So I've always been interested in sharks, both terrified and fascinated. I think there's not that much to worry about off the coast of California, although there have been some attacks. So it's something that I'm totally interested in, and I even once swam in a cage with great white sharks off of South Africa. So I have a real interest in great white sharks. And I had just read a report in the newspaper that said this guy at Long Beach was developing a system to detect sharks off the coast, and I was curious what that was about, and it seemed to me a pretty natural fit for a story if he was interested in talking about it. And turns out he's a relatively famous marine biologist who is known as the Shark Lab, is the place that he started and works at Cal State Long Beach, and he's just well known up and down the coast for his work with great white sharks. And he's a great lover of sharks, so he wants to always emphasize in conversations that they're not the terrifying man-eaters of Jaws fame. So, very simple couple of calls and conversations with him to go and spend some time with him. And I didn't shoot all the footage. Some of the footage was given out. Some of it was shot on GoPros underwater. And then we did the interview, obviously, with him at the lab. We talked pretty extensively about the project. It roamed over a lot of different topics about sharks in general and about California in general. But it ended up really focusing on sort of this system they're developing and on how the number of great white sharks in California is actually probably on the increase, but that juveniles are mostly the ones that come here offshore, while most of the larger adults go down to Mexico or much further offshore. So then it was just, it's just whatever, your standard video, your interview, you collect the other footage. In this case, there was some other stuff that they had, which, you always have to be a little reluctant to be using footage somebody else has, but if it doesn't advocate a point or if it doesn't advocate a political position per se, it's generally not a terrible thing, especially if it's footage you couldn't otherwise get. I do a lot of diving stories where I'm filming, and I use some of my footage and some of their footage. I think I did more diving stories for the New York Times than anybody at one point. That's how it all comes together. Then you've got what's always, to me, the much harder part of the story, which is coming back and doing the editing, which just means sorting through a tremendous amount of footage and trying to figure out. It was like GoPros on sticks and stuff like that. And then some of the other stuff they've planted cameras down there. And a lot of the like direct with sharks footage is either on a GoPro stick or it's a planted camera.